Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Friday Live. Ashley Hay with you today to show you how to create a Rusty journal. And this is, of course, part 3 of creating the Rusty journal. So if you would like to have a look at the previous 2 sessions, they were in the last 2 weeks, so you can watch those on replay. So what we're up to today, of course, is we are up to adding some bling to our artwork and really popping the rust effects out. So welcome. So if you are here, just let me know. It's always lovely to see people, and we'll get started without too much further ado. But I just want to let you know some of the things I'm going to be working with today. So I am going to be using the beautiful metallic pigment Colour Tricks Rich Gold from Powertex, and it is just absolutely beautiful. It is going to pop those power colours that we put on last week, so the mocha, the turquoise, the red ochre, and the light blue with the white, titanium white, to create those rust effects. So the beautiful rich gold is really going to pop out those blues and really going to emphasise our metallic effects. So we're going to take a look at that today. Hey Amanda, lovely to see you. And she's saying, oh, I'm starting this over the weekend. So that's really, really exciting. I look forward to seeing what you do. It's always wonderful to see what people actually do following the lives. So welcome Amanda, and let's get cracking without too much further ado. And I hope the lighting is better this week and you can see a little bit more easily. So I've adjusted that for you. So here's my art table. So you can see the previous, you can see the project there. Now this piece is actually finished with a different gold. So you can see here that it's your more muted gold colour. So this is the one I'm actually going to use today, which is Colour Tricks Rich Gold, and it is just beautiful because it really pops those blues. But if you do want a more subtle effect for your colours, then you can actually use the bronze gold, which is what I've used on this one. So it pops the colours out a little bit less. It's more subtle and gives you a more bronzy look. Hey, Robin and Mariana, welcome. And I hope you're ready to play this weekend and looking forward to a bit of rusty play. So let's go and let's get down onto the art table and get cracking, and I'll show you how to take these beautiful rich colours back into your artwork to get that to really pop. So of course what we started with was creating our textures with the bronze Powertex, and the benefit of course with the bronze Powertex is that it is actually going to stop the papers and cardboards absorbing water, because if you've sealed it properly, the Powertex is actually weather resistant. So that is a really top thing about it. The other great benefit is that you can see that these are just papers, but they're really hardened by the Powertex, and I think you should be able to hear that. That's the sound of a really soft piece of cardboard. So they're just papers, but with the Powertex on them, the textures just go incredibly hard. So we did that. Then last week we actually had a look at using power colours to create the undertones. So if you didn't see that one, you definitely want to watch that to see how you create the layers of the colours on that one. And today we're going to ping and bling up our piece so that we actually add some gorgeous rusty metallic effects to it. So let's go. So of course we're going to need our rich gold, and I'll pop a little bit of that out. Now with the metallic pigment, you can see I haven't put a lot out. I've just put a tiny little bit there. I can always put more out if I need it. I've also got my fuzzy brush. Those who know me know that I love my fuzzy brush. I don't like it too pointy, so I like it to be, and I'm just making sure I'm getting all it nice and dry on there. So it's a real dry brush and I've got no excess water. Now what I'm using is Easy Coat Glossy. Now you can actually use Easy Varnish instead of Easy Coat Glossy. So the difference between the two is the Easy Coat Glossy is basically a decoupage glue, but it's still going to act as a binder for the pigments. So it will work, so will your matte. So if you prefer a matte look, then you can actually use the matte. The benefit of the Glossy is it does actually resist, it makes it waterproof as well. But the Easy Varnish is just gorgeous. Once you get used to creating your layers, it is absolutely beautiful. It's got a liquid wax in it and it is just deluxe for to use with your embellishment, and it is beautiful. So the downside of the Easy Varnish is it's a little bit harder to paint over, which when you're beginning, that's why I start you with the Easy Coat Glossy, and then if you totally mess it up, you can easily paint over it with your Powertex and just create your layers again. So welcome, Donna. Lovely to see you and great that you finally made it to a live. So that's awesome. Oh, better put some out or we won't get very far. So I'm popping the lid back on without putting any out. So again, you can see I'm not putting too much out. I've put around about a 10-cent piece out there. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is just take our very dry brush, so similar to what we did last week, and go into our metallic pigment, and we're just going to take a little bit of the excess off. But usually what I find is I like to actually when I've got a fully loaded brush, I'll hit the top of texture where I want it to actually catch quite strongly. So I'm just holding that up for you so you can really get an idea, but I will put it down because it's a little bit easier, and then I can actually hold those edges up. And what I want is I want it to feel like the light is actually streaming down from above. So I want to think about the direction of my brush strokes. Now you can see here I've got less on my brush and I'm being really careful because I don't want too much on there. I want the blue and the rust to actually poke through. So on those edges, I brush in from the edge and it really gives me a super metallic look to my artwork that is just glorious. And you don't want to go everywhere with this. So once you've got less on your brush, so there's still quite a lot on there, so you can see why there's really not a lot of need to go too heavy with your pigments on your palette. Now, I've got very little on there, so it's almost like I would go back and load my brush up now, but I've got some very subtle texture here, and so I'm going to take that really light bit that's on my brush and I'm just going to catch the top of some of that stenciled texture just to give it a little bit more definition. So you can see how that's coming up there. Now, I also, if I take that yellow of the rich gold into the background on some of this blue, it really is gorgeous because it just tickles up the colour a little bit and makes it bounce out a little bit. Now, you want to be careful not to go absolutely everywhere. You can get carried away with this and end up with it all looking very much the same. So the real trick is less is more, and have real variety. So you can see I haven't really covered anywhere in here, but again, when I've got very little on my brush, I can actually go back into some of those areas where I might just want to highlight it just a fraction, but not totally. So I'm just sweeping that pigment around on my piece. I can also lift some of this cardboard and get in underneath so I don't get so much of an edge. Then I look at it and I go, okay, where would I like the colour to be a little bit stronger? And so this is where it just comes down to personal choice, and this is your aesthetic and subjective choice, your creative license as to how much of that gold you put on. Probably the first time you do it, you'll probably get totally carried away with it because it is kind of a little bit nice to play with, and you might go over the top. But if you then, look at doing it again, you will find that each time you actually play with the colours, you just get better and better about those decisions. So I just thought I'd put a little bit of streaming of colour in there. Now, I'm not sure that I like it, but I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to get any stronger than that. I'm just going to pick up a few of these other edges. And you saw how I highlighted this edge. And if I want to, I can actually put a stronger edge on here so that I'm really catching those torn pieces, so it really looks quite metallic. All right, so that's probably enough. And I want to have some contrast underneath because, of course, the next thing we're going to look at, I'll just see if I can hold that up so you get a better idea of how that colour's looking. So you can see how rich that rich gold colour is against the mocha and the red oxide and the turquoise and the light blue in the background there. So the orange colour is really popping against that blue to give you a real contrast in your piece. So it's really important to allow some of those beginning layers to actually come through. All right, so I'll just move this aside and we'll move our cogs down and we'll have a look at those because, of course, what we want to do is we want to add our cogs onto our artwork. So what we've done already is we've actually painted all of our cogs that we want to add with the bronze gold, with the bronze Powertex, and we've done that on both sides, and we've really made sure that we've gone into all the edges and that we've sealed it properly so that it is not going to get damaged by water. And it will be protected and it will give your journal cover longevity, which is really, really great. All right, so then we're just going to repeat the process and we're going to get back into this rich gold colour. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually put red oxide and some of the more rusty colours into here before you actually do your rich gold, or you can just go straight in with your rich gold and it's going to create a really strong contrast against your background. So same principle, when I've got a fully loaded brush, I just want to be careful where I actually utilise the strength of that because I don't want it to all be strong colour. So I'm just going to wave a little bit around in the centre there. Hope you can see that. And then I can also get into some of these other cog shapes as well. Once I've got less on my brush, I can just really wave that brush around and it gets a nice metallic sheen without being too over the top. And this is quite fast, so you can do this quite quickly. Away we go. I get quiet. I'm in creative zone. So what's your favourite metallic colour? What colours do you love? And I'm actually going to be doing something else next week, but what I thought I'd do is I would pre-record a video for you guys. So make sure you still pop on at 10 o'clock next week. Whilst I won't be live, there will be a recorded video of a project that you can do over next weekend. So sorry I can't be here live next week, but it's all a bit exciting what I'm actually doing, and there'll be more news around that very, very soon. But in the meantime, like I say, I will come to you with a lovely pre-recorded project that you can have a play with over next weekend. So I thought I'd stick with the rust, and I'd do a rusty canvas for you and show you a few textural techniques as well. So that's definitely something to look out for next week. So who's excited? Up for a bit more rust? So if there's something as well that you'd love to learn a bit more about, just pop it in the comments too. And that way I can look at answering any of your questions on some of the lives too, so that I know that I'm hitting the mark for what you guys actually want. So the reason I'm going back into this one, I'll just try and hold it at an angle so that you see, there we go. So you can see that gold colour on there now. So it looks a little bit brushy. It looks a little bit brushy sometimes. So that's where you can just swish back into it and it actually smooths and feathers out that colour. So I'm just trying to angle it there so it's catching the light. There we go. So you can see how that is. So I've done all the cogs that I'm going to add on to my piece. And Robin's just saying, is it better to put it on the front before we put the gold on? So no, I always do it off my piece. So the reason being is if I was trying to paint it on my journal, what would happen is I would overbrush onto my background. So it's much better for me to be pre-colouring it, and then I'm not going to brush back into my background. So great question, Robin. So that's why I'm not doing it actually on the piece and putting it onto the piece first. Okay, so now that we've got those all glitzed up with a bit of rich gold, we can bring our piece back, and then it's just a case of making a decision about where we're actually going to pop our pieces. And that is just a creative play decision. So you can layer them up if you like. I haven't really pre-thought of anything with this, so we'll just go with what we see. I like the 12 to be at the top. It has got a clock on there. Maybe one of these coggy bits might be quite nice on there. And one of those. One of those. And then I've got some little pieces here that I can put on. And I can put my Explore on as well somewhere. So I might just, maybe I'll put those up here, and my Explore can go down in here. So that looks all right. So now it's just a case of actually attaching those pieces on. So once you've done the layout, it's actually a good idea to take a photograph of what you've actually done, so that if you do move anything, you don't go, oh, damn, I can't remember what I was going to do, especially if you've layered up pieces like this, where I've layered it up here. But I'm just going to show you very simply how we're going to attach this, and it's super, super easy. So essentially we're going to be using a little bit of stone art. The great thing with the stone art is you can actually raise some of these up, so it gives them even a little bit more dimension on the piece so that they're not flat on the piece. If you were just going to put it down flat, you could use Powertex Transparent, or you could even use the Easy Coat Glossy, which will also act like a glue to actually decoupage these pieces on. It won't be an instant stick, but it will stick. So I've got my stone art and I've already got a bit of clay made up here. So this is the stone art clay. What it is it is a refined powder that comes, it's called stone art. And when you mix it with the Powertex Ultimate Medium, you can make a clay, and whatever coloured Powertex medium you mix it with will be the colour of the clay you get. And the great thing about it is that you don't have to fire it, so it is going to air dry. The other great thing when you're doing something like this is it is going to give you an instant stick, so it is going to stick straight away. So I'm not going to need an awful lot. I can make a couple of small pieces. Donna's just saying, I'll be starting my Christmas wreaths again soon, and she's going to try a rust effect one. That is so awesome. So I haven't been scrolling through some of my bits, so that will be fantastic to see, Donna. And your favourite metallic is blue. Fantastic. And so, of course, we have been showing how to use the Colourtrix metallic pigment to add the contrast to our rust effects artwork. And now we're actually showing how to add our final layers onto our journal using the stone art clay. And I've just made that into a couple of very small balls. I can put a little bit, I might just put a little bit of my leftover Glossy on there, so that it just gives it a little bit more instant stick. And I just choose an area where it's going to actually sit on the cardboard. And like I say, I don't want those to be too huge. Or they will stand out. Pop a little bit more on there. Okay. Now this is where you can see that that is now raised. Oh, so it is actually raised off the surface of the piece, so that there is actually, it's sitting not flat on the piece. And then we just repeat that process until you've got all your pieces down. So we can pop next cog down, and I can actually make this one a bit higher if I want to. Now, the other thing is that because that's now poking through there, I can use my sculpture tool to put a little bit of an indent back into there if I want, or I can use a kebab stick as well. So this rusty journal kit comes with the chippy shapes. It comes with a little bit of corrugated cardboard. It comes with a small Powertex, or you can choose to get a large Powertex with it, from Powertex Australia. So if you are in Australia and you want to have a play with this, you can actually get the rusty journal kit, which will have all the basics, so the journal and all the bits and pieces. And then if you would like the rusty colours as well, there's actually a rust colour kit that includes, it actually includes these colours. So it doesn't include the light blue, but it includes all of those and also small varnish. So it's great value. So we can pop that on there. So if you'd like to know more about that, you can actually go onto the Powertex website and you can go to the shop, and there's lots of kits on there. So you'll see in the menu, there's actually a menu for kits, and you will find this one there. So in here, I'm not sure if you can see, but it's a little bit messy with the clay popping through. So what I can do is I can just get my tools and I can just make sure that it's looking nice and tidy and I'm happy with it. So I love the kebab stick. It's a very handy tool to use in your studio with your Powertex, because it stops your big clunky fingers from getting in too much of it. And that's quite good. And if there's any excess, I can actually just pull it out of the way with that stick, and just make sure that attention to detail is really important, so that you're really looking to make sure that you finish things properly, and it's got really nice shape and colour. So that's looking really nice and tidy now, so I can't see any of the clay coming through. And I've also got dimension in it because I have used that stone art clay. And then of course I'm just going to attach the clock in the same way, the gears and cogs and all the other bits and pieces, and then we will be finished. So might as well do it quickly. So does anyone have any questions? So that's just some details for you on what's in that rusty colour kit. So it actually includes some easy varnish, the rich gold that we've used today, and turquoise, titanium white mocha and red ochre that we actually used last week. Lots of glossy on that bit. Oh, I think I was gonna put that over there and then have the little coggy thing. That's what we were doing, wasn't it? So I'll put a little bit more stone art on there. Pop that on there, and then I might put that gear bit on top of that other bit. So put a little bit of stone art underneath that bit. Can't believe we're starting to think about Christmas already, Donna. That's just crazy, isn't it? I was talking to family yesterday and we're already starting to plan what we're doing for family Christmas. It's going to be here before we know it. So it's probably a good idea to be starting your Christmas projects now. So if you do want a bit of arty inspiration for your Christmas projects, we did a whole lot of little live demos at the end of last year as part of the Christmas challenge, which was a lot of fun. Might have to do something again this year, have a bit more fun. Who agrees? I'm sure you all agree, and who'd be in it. So have a bit of Christmas fun again. Let me know and we might make sure that we get that organised for Christmas time. Okay, so what's happening is I just haven't put that in the right place. So let's just put right on there. And that's not in the right place either. Pop a bit on there. Okay, put my 12 at the top. And away we go. So there you go. All right, and then I've just got my little buttons to stick on there. And we're done. Inspired to create rusty pieces. So I'll just check my comments. Has anyone got any questions? So yeah, Donna's just saying, yes, I agree. It's crazy. And that she did a market last weekend and people are already starting to think about buying Christmas presents. Amazing. So these little pieces, that is probably, really overkill. Probably don't even need that much. So we could even just stick that on with just a little bit of Glossy if we wanted to. But we'll go with the stone art because we've got it here. We've got it out. It's all good. Gives it a little bit more dimension and interest. What you do have to be careful of, though, is that you don't fill up the holes that are your really interesting bits. So, of course, that's where you can go back in with a sculpture tool and just change it up. Okay, so I can just get back in there with that tool, make sure that that clay is not popping through where I don't want it to. And voila, I'm done. I have got another gear thing here that I can also pop on to my piece if I wish. So I think we had it over here somewhere. I'll figure that out later. But for now, there we go. That's the Rusty journal. And so you can see how amazing it looks once you put that final layer of colour on. It just really pops those colours out. And it really is very, very nice. So I might even end up putting a little bit of something down here. I do like to have quiet areas in my artwork, so I don't like everything to be the same. So you might want to think about that yourself. Make sure that you are allowing some quiet spaces where the eye can actually rest. Might actually put it in there somewhere. I think that will be quite cool. All right, and find another cog. I'll probably find another cog in there. All right, so there we go. There we have it, our Rusty journal. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed doing that, and that you're inspired to create something rusty and wonderful. So if you would like a bigger challenge, I have got a fantastic Rust Effects online workshop that you can purchase, and you can do like a full project, and you can have me in your studio with you as you create a nice Rust Effects piece. So you might want to check that out. The details are in the comments. And of course, please do share your artwork with us. We love connecting with you guys, and we want to see what you're creating. And if you need more information, you can always go to the website and you'll find things there. And there's also trainers around Australia that you guys can connect with. So if you would like to do a workshop, and we're not in lockdown, and there's workshops on, then you might like to connect with a trainer near you and find out what they're doing with Rust Effects or something else. So you might prefer to do a bit of sculpture or mixed media, and there's so many opportunities. So again, you can find details of our trainers on the website as well. So everyone, I wish you all a very creative, wonderful weekend. That's what I'm here to inspire you to. So I do love to see what you guys actually do. Robin is just asking a question. So she's just saying, do you just use varnish if you don't want it raised? Yeah, so Robin, if you don't want it raised, then you can use just a little bit of the Easy Coat Glossy to stick it down, or a little bit of Powertex Transparent, so that both those will actually dry clear and won't affect your colours. So I hope you saw, Robin, how fantastic it was to actually add your cogs onto your piece as a final layer instead of trying to paint everything at the same time on that one layer. And adding those cogs on pre-brushed, pre-coloured means that you get that beautiful contrast with the underlying areas underneath. So I hope you've all loved that, and like I say, next week I will bring you a pre-recorded video, and it will be a lot of fun, and so you'll be able to watch that and find that on these pages, so on YouTube or on the Facebook page. So yes, wishing you all a creative, fantastic weekend. Bye for now, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you again, not next week, but I will have something, but the following week. And I'll have lots more news for you. So stay tuned and see you soon. Bye.